Reports indicate that the F-14 was used in combat recently by Iran as a bomber escort for sorties over Syria. The male-centric original Top Gun features one of film's greatest rivalries between Maverick and Iceman, as well as what is likely film's greatest bromance between Maverick and Goose. Yet the film's habitual scene stealer may not be Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer, or Anthony Edwards, but rather the Grumman F-14 Tomcat, the U.S. Navy's primary fighter jet during the later days of the Cold War. F-14 Tomcat, a formidable foe of the Russian MiG. The F-14 was designed with the knowledge gained during combat against MiG fighters during the Vietnam War. The first of the Teen Series fighters, the F-14 debuted in 1970, and by 1974 was deployed aboard the U.S. Enterprise to replace the F-4 Phantom II. In replacing the Phantom, the F-14 became the Navy's go-to workhorse, capable of conducting a wide spectrum of mission profiles: air superiority, fleet defense, interceptor, aerial reconnaissance, and later, ground attack. Versatile and durable, the F-14 Tomcat served for over 3 decades. Yet the Tomcat often took a backseat to its overlapping successors, the F/A-18 Hornet, and the U.S. Air Force counterpart, the F-15 Eagle. Resultantly, the F-14's operational history is not quite as impressive as its capabilities or service duration would suggest. Through the 1980s, the F-14 earned the vast majority of its combat experience against Iraq, only not with American operators. In the 1970s, before the Iranian Revolution, and when the Shah still ruled Iran, and the United States were allies, the U.S., hoping to bolster Iran's military, exported F-14s to the Shah, the sole foreign customer of the warplane. And Iran, which spent most of the 1980s engaged in the Iran-Iraq War, relied heavily on the Tomcat. According to researcher Tom Cooper, Iranian F-14 scored 50 air-to-air victories during the first 6 months of the conflict, besting Iraqi MiG-21s, MiG-23s, and Su-20s. Only one F-14 was lost during these first 6 months, proving that the designers, who had set out to develop a MiG killer, had indeed succeeded. Iran's, and the F-14's, success is particularly notable in that Iranian aircrews lacked proper support from AEDOS, AEDO, or ground control, and also because the Iraqis were receiving support and equipment from 3 world powers: the Soviet Union, France, and the suddenly no longer allied with Iran United States. Estimates suggest that Iran only lost a dozen or so F-14s during the 8-year war. Iraq's claims to have shot down over 70 Tomcats appear hyperbolic. One Iranian pilot, Jalil Zandi, exemplifies the success of the Iranian Air Force. He is credited with shooting down 11 Iraqi aircraft. So oddly, Zandi, rather than some red-blooded American volleyball player, is the F-14's highest-scoring pilot ever. Today, Iran is the world's only operator of the F-14. Iran still operates about 24 Tomcats. Reports indicate that the F-14 was used in combat recently as a bomber escort for sorties over Syria. The U.S. retired the airframe in 2006, replacing it entirely with the successive F/A-18. The U.S., credibly paranoid about industrial espionage, shredded most of the retired F-14s for fear that Iran would acquire components from the preserved Tomcats. Only 11 intact F-14s survived the purge, remaining in storage at Davis Monthan AFB in the Boneyard. Fortunately, the F-14 lies on in perpetuity, on film, in Top Gun, where it is preserved in the Library of Congress.